You know, Jesus came to show us the way. Many people think he only came to save us and that was his job. No, he came for us to save ourselves. He taught his disciples. And after he taught them, he said, now go do it. And so when they went out to try to do it, they discovered a whole new reality. When they came back, they said, wow, Master, that was fantastic. I saw healing this, I cast out the demons, this all happened. If we can follow the Master, Moria is a great master. In a dictation that he gave just a few years ago, recorded in volume 34, number 28, if you're interested, of the Pearls of Wisdom. But in this dictation, he gives so many cues to us. If you want to follow, if you want to become Moria in manifestation, if you want to be able to do what Moria did, the miracles that he made. He starts out by saying, where the sea meets the land, I stand. And where the shore of reality knows the beating of the sea of unreality, I stand, I speak. I roll back the astral tide. That's using mastery. Or you stand in right at the point where unreality becomes a problem. And certainly, if you are sharp and are watching the goings on in this world today, you shake your head, for the unreality is so blatant, one can hardly miss it. You wonder why people are so stupid. That's where you and I stand. I roll back the astral tide, he said, and I am Moria of the flame, of the will of God, Moria El, of the diamond heart. He says, descending out of the clouds of great glory of the living Christ, I am descended to this place. And I direct the beam from my heart to all chelas in the earth, including those not connected with this activity whom I have drawn. Now, are you listening? He just gave us a tremendous tip. In fact, if you heard or if you were involved in the ashram ritual this morning, you heard Judith read, when you have completed your meditation, visualize a powerful beam of light going forth from your third eye and your heart chakra to manifest God's will in specific personal and world situations. How much have you done that lately? Or are you copying our master? You know, this is very practical. Excuse me. You want a parking place downtown and you're afraid of traffic and you won't find one? try using this method. Visualize where you want to park. Visualize the opening there. Follow it through. Hold the image. And you'll be shocked that there it is, open for you when you get there. But that's the way we also work with healing. That's the way we work in protecting people, in protecting our images. But he also gives us a cue on what makes it effective as we are going on down here. But make sure you understand the practicality of following the master's tips, because he expects us to be masters in his shoes. And therefore, we take a look at this whole thing. He said, each one does know that ray, and the 10,000 times 10,000 arms of beloved Kuan Yin reach out to draw them in and to defeat all malice of the malicious ones who would move against my own. Ah, yes. Start practicing projection, flame projection. Make it a commonplace. You need something, do something. Go back to the Old Testament. Here was a war. The prophet stood on the mountain. The armies were going at it. As long as he held his hands out like this, we were winning. When his arms get tired, he dropped them down, we were losing. So he got a couple of weeks holding his hands up. When Moses came taking the children out of Egypt, he stood in the mountain and held his hands. And then the waters divided. You can do so much when you understand projection. Projection. You reach out and all at once, you are way out there. Very practical. When you see danger, project. When you see victory, project. When you need blessing, project. Begin to see there's no limitation. This is a teaching we need to apply now. Fierce is the dark night of the soul, he says. Fierce is the light that bakes the naked clay. Yes, these vessels are soon no longer adequate to the task. These vessels must be transformed into the crystal chalice of the One. We must be the vibration of Moria, the diamond heart of Almighty God. We must begin to rise in vibration where we have the strength of a beam of light coming from us to whatever the situation is. For the naked clay has no power. Those who have no desire to be the master, who just float along with it, they don't make it. May you understand, he says, that the path is arduous and the climb steep and the effort greater with every breath you breathe. For you are moving toward the Arhats, and Arhat is an enlightened one. You are moving toward the Arhats and their abodes, where the eagles gather. There is a point of contact with reality In ages and years past, you had that contact through little effort of your own, for the gurus ascended did seal it. Now it's up to you to establish thou it, to intensify the cord, beloved. In other words, work with this thing until you become more and more powerful in projection, making that cord between here and there very strong. For now is the hour when the mountaineers must have their picks and ropes. This is the climb to the finish. The Tibetans know the climb, as do the Afghans, the Kurds, and many others who have reached for higher summit than the physical space. Have you consciously reached for the summit? Are you manifesting the highest that there is? Or do we get caught up in our day-by-day busyness that we never really get into becoming the master? Yes, beloved, he says, are you ready for the climb? I have said it before. It is an inconvenient trek, but it is worth the inconvenience. As long as you will say, I will stay at the shore of the astral sea, biding my time and determining when I should run away from the moving sea that moves against the land. As long as you are content to be where the density is greatest, and I speak not necessarily of a geographical location, I speak of levels and layers of density, then you must struggle there. But if you would make the effort to rise to new etheric planes, new steps in the 33, and he's talking about there are 33 steps up in consciousness and 33 steps down. The lower 33 steps is hell. The higher you go, the more in heaven, more in spirit, higher spirit, more vibration, a higher vibration. If you would pull down that light and pull it down by such a fierce and joyous shout as that which can be heard as a clap and a thunder of the great Kali goddess, excuse me, if you will do that, you will draw your heaven down into this world. You will endow your area of activity with greater momentum of the etheric octave, and you will sail across the sea of glass and not find yourself stuck in the morasses of the astral plane. Flame transference from the retreats of the brotherhood into the physical. Isn't this where we are going at this moment? Isn't this what we have been introducing in the last several weeks? Isn't this where we want to become the master? Think about it. He says, I speak of the dark cycle and its acceleration once again. A year has passed. Calamities descend with suddenness, and many are now no longer in this world. but must find their way in the next. Karma is relentless. May you meet it relentlessly with the fervor of Omritas, with the fervor of Saint Germain, and our most beloved Lady Portia, with the fervor of Zarathustra, with the mighty fervor of Zadkiel and Holy Amethyst, and Victoria and Arcturus. Yes, beloved, may you become the fervent ones. Hear my voice. I pierce now the new veils that you have allowed to collect as spider webs, not even registering the new density that does cause you to step backwards a half a step, and then a yard, and then a league, still with no sense that suddenly you do not feel the intense white hot heat of the flame, nor its coolness that does come from when transmutation is complete. Yes, beloved, fervent chelas will finish the course. I am sad to say that some of you will not finish the course. Not because you do not know me, not because you do not know the law or have the teaching in your heart, but because of a misassessment of the times, which require a greater fire to be kindled in order to sustain the light and a new density that is found in this karma descending. Have you wondered what is about to happen? We are in a war right now. Karma descending. We are moving, trying to move to a golden age. But if you watch the news, you have to wonder how many thousand years ahead of us, for it seems to be getting denser and denser rather than moving toward the golden age. And we have much to do about helping to move through this density to the golden age. And this is what it's all about. This is why you and I are here, why we incarnated at this time. And don't think for a moment you don't have the tools. You're given those tools at night while you sleep, when you go to the retreats of the Brotherhood. We all are equipped, as he will be saying. He said, I come then in this line of the dark cycle under the hierarchy of mighty eagle Scorpio. I come then in this month of the power of the Buddha, the power of Taurus. And I say to you, beloved, let that line now be drawn. May you draw the fire of a blue ray through it that you have invoked. May you keep your novenas to me, that I might be there always with you at every moment, my electronic presence surrounding you, my mind thinking through you and assisting you to feel and to know the Godhead here below, dwelling in you bodily. Some time ago, when I was reading one of his dictations, I saw Moria say, if you're going to be my disciple, then you must do a decree to me every day. And so I adapted that. Every day in my cycle of decrees that I do, I include 1009, Moria's decree, because I want him to think through me. I want him to speak through me. I want him to feel that I am one in his heart. That would be very good for you to apply the same thing. He said, it is a time then for you to comprehend that the four horsemen eventually knock at every door. That's what they say. Everybody pays taxes and everybody takes their time of transition, of dying. You pay taxes and you die. Those two things you must do in your lifetime. And so this is what he's talking about here. He said, I am praying that when they knock upon your door, you will open it and they will find you midst a conflagration of violet flame, a conflagration of blue-white light as sapphire diamond crystal blending, and that any karma due on your lintel might be even that which can be consumed in the fire you have built. In other words, you have done the decrees necessary to transmute your karma, and all you have to do is that which you have picked up very recently, so that very quickly it is transmuted out as you rise in vibration. He said, may the descending cycles of karma not cause you to miss a beat, to look back in disgrace, to look back in sin and the sense of sin, but find you entering in, holding the balance of your own Christhood as new levels of karma descend and as the astral sea does rise. If we are doing our decrees daily, karma that comes in is automatically gone. If we are keeping up with our needs, spiritual needs, everything in the past as it is brought back again can be transmuted out. And this is what he's talking about. He said, it does not receive, beloved, except for the soul who will displace it with rings of fire, solar rings of the central sun, seraphim in formation. For the seraphim cannot, dare not, leave the soul of light, who has raised up a pillar of fire unto God as the cylinder of the tube of light. So as we increase this tube of light around us, the seraphim ministers and works with us. Oh, I find it so beautiful to work with the seraphim. If I sense negativity and I start getting all itchy and so on, I just have to ask, tell me, is there entities in my aura? And if I hear yes, will you please cleanse it? It's gone. If we can learn to begin to be so familiar with those angels who work with us moment by moment, we can move through this whole density without any problems. He said, yes, I am Moria. I am concerned for my chelas. I would have you and hold you to my heart. Yet the grip must be firm. the grip whereby you clasp my own hand, and therefore I can lift you as a baby as high as the grip will allow. As high as the grip will allow. You know, we put limits on how high we go. We get fearful. We're not used to some of this higher frequencies. But this is what we must get used to. As long as we hold his hand, he says, teach yourselves to hold on, having stood steadfast to stand and still stand. Don't let other things bring in doubts and fears. Don't let that happen. Demand that it leave you. He said, beloved, it is not enough to hold your position on the path. Not only must you hold it, but you must also advance. Advance your cause, my cause, the cause of the great divine director and Saint Germain, the cause of Omritas. May you once and for all order your lives. See the equilateral triangle. See it then as the sounding brass and tingling cymbal. Balance the threefold flame. That's what he's talking about. May you know that there is come upon you a new challenge for which I have prepared you for many lifetimes. I desire to see the fruition of this preparation, not alone for my personal satisfaction, but as a mark of achievement and a measure of what is possible to all who come to our altar. And that chelaship is worth the effort and does have its reward of bliss here and now. One could say, as well as the ascension. That's the highest point, isn't it? He says, may you have the sensitivity to be aware in an extended awareness of all who need your prayer, all who are waiting, hoping for the breath of life to be sustained in them in the face of all odds as they face the elements of their karma. I have a list. Do you have a list? Are we so tied up in our own problems that we forget that our others really need what we have? Have we not seen the scientific evidence that when you have a disease, if you start praying for other people who have the same disease, you can be healed? But when you pray for your own healing, it never happens because all you see and feel is your own problem. It's a fantastic understanding. The person who forgets his own problem and prays for another person, even if they're praying for the same problem, is healed. So it is here. Make yourself a list. Every now and then we see requests for email. Please pray for so-and-so. Do you have it on your list? Do you make a list? Or are you so busy that you just pass it by? But you're missing something. You're missing something. You're missing your own healing and your own vibration increasing by praying for the other people. Every time I do my violet flame decrees, I have my hands on my list and I work with those lists, those people. You do the same and something starts to happen. He said, in the mountains of Kurdistan, in the mountains of Tibet, of Afghanistan, there are people of light and endurance. Oh, beloved, there are spiritual ones among them all. They keep a flame. And when the when the flame is extinguished, it is ignited again on the next octave and the next as they go up the steps of the 33. He said, praise God for the ascending spiral staircase of etheric octaves. May you praise God night and day, that you might breathe in and out the sacred fire breath, that you might lock into those dimensions of the heaven world. Now you will hear us as we talk about this worldwide flame transference that we are trying to learn, to lock into the dimensions of the heaven world, because here are all these retreats of the brotherhood, and each retreat specializes in a certain aspect of God. And they have large groups of people who are working with that high energy that they bring down from even higher. And what we are learning to do is go and take receive the energies from one of these retreats every month. We practice a whole month on becoming that flame of that retreat from these heaven world, these dimensions of the heaven world. What it can do, it'll transform your life, raising your life and making it more possible for you to help change the world, to bring in the golden age. That's why we are here. When suddenly you have the opportunity to think in terms of you changing the world, unless you have these kind of tools, how do you do it? This is why at this moment we are being led a great step forward in becoming Moria, in becoming Jesus, in becoming Saint Germain, and so on. He says, cast out fear, I say. Cast it out. Cast out anxiety. Be done with it. What is there to fear but some lost and forgotten sin of omission? Yes, we pick up fears from outside of ourselves. We have memories of things that have happened in other lives that have caused us to still fear certain things. Go into those fears. Bring them up. He said, call to the all-seeing eye of God to trace it, and call to the violet flame to consume it, and subdue all propensities to sin again. This is often Jesus' own teaching. When after he heals them, he says, go and sin no more. Don't go into this stuff anymore. Keep out of it. He said, beloved, The law of forgiveness will serve you well. Think of the most heinous crime for which you sense guilt or do not. All can be forgiven if the heart be contrite and be willing to pay the price of penance in service to the Lord, in service to the brotherhood, in service to the little ones of God. As I read this and pondered on it, I remembered a time when somebody said to Mother, I've had an abortion. How do I get forgiveness for that? And Mother's answer was, go and minister to children. Become a teacher of children. Become a nurse of children. Become a psychologist of children. Minister to children. Make up for what you have done. And this is what he's saying here. He said, you are capable of fulfilling the law's requirements apply to you. Though you may be an hour or a year or a month from your transition, you can fill all of your life and cup with the gratitude of the swirling violet flame. Yes, beloved, you have not finished our savings regarding this earth. Our sayings, You have not finished our sayings regarding this earth. We are not done with that which can come upon the earth. But now in this hour, we minister to servants of the will of God, as Hercules has told you. We minister to chelas. We give you the opportunity to enter in, to be warmed at the fires of Darjeeling, to accept the call, to know the rebuke, and to know when the heart must be opened just another time and another to fulfill the certain level of the law. I remember so well. When I first joined the staff, I carried with me, as all of us do, a certain bundle of problems, one might say. And one of those was a little bit of self-pity. So I could get up on the wrong side of the bed in the morning, feel sorry for myself. And one morning I was in this condition and the telephone rang. And I picked it up with my feelings the way I was, and I said, "Good morning." And the voice on the other end said, "Good morning, Carl, this is Mother." Mother. She started to speak to me, and in the middle of a sentence, she stopped and she said, "Your vibration is so bad, I can't stand talking to you. Goodbye." Bam. I'll never forget it. The rebuke was such that I started to change from that little thing out of that. It's the rebuke from the Master that makes us change. I just read an interesting experience. The coach of the Michigan basketball, the University of Michigan basketball team, is well known for he is very, very serious at what he does. And he has such a great relationship with his team that when they're not doing what they need to do, they know it. In this article I read was this last week. This one student wasn't playing up to his ability. And at one point, they called a timeout, and the coach rushed out onto the floor, rushed at the person so strong that other players stepped in to try to help calm him down. And he was shouting at this student in front of all of these people about not doing what he had to do. And I thought it was interesting because the reporter said after the game was over, he had a chance to talk with the boy. And he said, "What do you think about the coach embarrassing you in front of all those people?" And his answer was, "It was the worst game I've ever played. I needed that. And I hope that my next game will be different." He wasn't saying that doggone coach. He took the rebuke to become better. We need to do the same thing with Moria. Moria somehow gets through to us. Oh, how many times I get myself involved with the news and I hear, "Now that's enough, you've spent enough time, it's time to move on." Oh yes, Moria, thank you. Turn off the news and get busy. If we are with our coach, we can move great strides. He said, "Let those of lesser attainment acknowledge it and pursue the higher way of God and understand the order of hierarchy and the gift of the messenger to counsel you." This one, which was the messenger, has taken no small amount of abuse from the quarters of the earth and sectors of minds. It does not matter. It does not matter to her. She has but one desire, the defense of your wholeness, to see you through in your victory. Your heart is one with mine in this respect. Therefore, know such an advocate that you have in the flesh, and know that the advocacy is duplicated many times over by the ascended masters. Rejoice then that your names are written in the book of life. Yet, what small rejoicing if you are not true to that name, I am that I am. When we goof, we let God down, for we are the manifestation of the Father, Mother, God. And the higher you move in this area of spiritual consciousness, the more responsibility you have to be the I am that I am unto all. He said, "I come to tell you that there is a time for intensification. It is now. It is time to accelerate, to pass the slow vehicles on the highways of life and know that they will never get there. They have not momentum." Wow. Don't let anybody hold you back. He said, "Let momentum now be seized by you. I am transmitting to you the fervor of heart, my heart that is a diamond heart of God's will, and the joy and the bliss. Let none consider me stern, but stern for a purpose, to draw those who serve the light to serve the light into levels of realism unknown before. Yes, it is so. It is so that my love is commensurate with all of the will of God, all of the will and the sternness that I shall bring to you. There is time for love, but there is no time left for you to dally outside of the circle of your discipleship in the Sacred Heart of Jesus Christ. It's time to get rid of those entities around us that we play with, that we put up with. It's time to move into a very solid relationship that never goes down. He said, therefore, I am stern, as I would be if I were to chase you away from oncoming fire or flood or cataclysm or continents that you must escape. You must not know the reason. You may not know the reason, but you must know the why. For I have loved thee. That is why. And only the greatest love on the part of beings of heaven, I tell you, could allow us to tarry with such a recalcitrant generation as we find, who will call themselves the advanced spiritual ones of this planet. It just astounds me. People wanting to become president of the United States, but they have nothing to offer. It astounds me when I hear people talk about their religion. Our religion. We have the greatest teaching on the planet. But through their pride, they do not apply it. And they do not live it out. He said, blessed hearts. They can scarcely focus the mind on a cosmic principle and bring it into precipitation. Another tip. How do you precipitate? How do you precipitate? You focus the mind on a cosmic principle and bring it into precipitation. You hold it constantly. Scarcely are they able to hold a flame of the strength of the mind and the will long enough to accomplish a difficult task or to hold the line against infamy and hypocrisy. Let those who consider themselves to have attainment prove it by action that is effective for the protection of the world itself. I would to God that there would be no television for a month, so people would have to find within their own resources a certain communion and balance, for they now depend emotionally upon this being given to them by the high stimulus of the TV. Yes, TV was a great invention from Saint Germain, but now it is constantly changing the mind, the focus, so on. And moment by moment, you're changing everything so that it becomes impossible to sit down and hold a concept to bring it into focus, because the mind wants to keep jumping all over the place. It becomes a curse. He said, we can scarcely get the attention of some of our chelas. So preoccupied are they with business, with entertainment, with all manner of doings and goings and comings, except the going in and the coming out in the center of the white fire core of being. Would to God the earth would have a moment of silence and surcease from agitation and dissidence. Then should a people either seek their God or go crazy, as you say, for the silence of unsupportable to those who have no strength of membrane that defines their identity in God. You know, have you ever met a person who just can't stand the silence? They have to have either the radio blaring, the television blaring, something happening, or them talking. And they talk and talk and talk and talk with nothing, meaning nothing. But they have to fill that silence because they can't stand it. It's because they've never learned to use the silence to becoming one with God. Draw a line in the sand. Draw a circle of flame around about you and say to the astral plane, thus far and no farther, you shall not pass. You shall not enter the place where I make my communion with my God. What will it take, beloved, to get the people's attention upon the Godhead? Will it take the leveling of civilization? I trust not. Yet I do not trust that it shall not be. There are many souls who will be lost if things keep going as they are going today. Yes. If you were the Most High God sitting upon the throne of light of the Ancient of Days, would you then allow circumstances and a corrupt civilization and materialism to continue at the expense of the loss of a single soul? Let me tell you, the value placed upon a single soul and a single life in heaven is far greater than the value that is placed upon the individual upon earth in most quarters. Yes, we kill all our children off by abortion. And we're just now making those laws that say, even after birth, here's a child that's pretty clean. So it's up to the mother. Do you want the child to live or die? And as one doctor said, and when they say they want to die, we just break the neck. That's all. Simple. Because we do not respect life. Our God will rearrange the cosmos for the salvation of a single soul. Think you not that he will not one day make the decision to wipe from the screen of the mind all that tears out of the heart and the soul and the spirit of one of his little ones. Ponder this, beloved. You are fathers and mothers from the beginning. What would you do to the forces of darkness who were ultimately threatening your child? Would you stand by, or would you strike them down and say, you shall not have my child, nor his mind, nor his heart, nor his being, nor his love? So, beloved, stand back, ponder, go into the heart of nature and commune. Take a weekend or the 4th of July. Come apart and listen. Listen to the still small voice within you as the voice of your God. For God will speak to you in this age. It is the compensatory factor against the backdrop of the dark cycle. Who will listen? Who will fast and pray? Who among you will maintain the balance and not go tipsy-turvy into emotional tantrums and out of balance toxic states because you do not regularly fast and then eat wisely? How can the mind of God be in you when the vessels are not kept clean? Where shall you go? Indeed, where shall you go for the confirmation that the word that you hear is true? May you go to the rock of the living Christ for the breaking of the pitchers, that new vessels might be formed and you might commune in the knowledge of direct communication with God. We have sent a messenger for this purpose. May you know that the goal is for you to hear your holy Christ self. It does take work, beloved, to attain this accuracy of communion with your Christ presence demands total dedication and withdrawal from many sounds and devices of the age. Turn off your TVs for a while. Turn off your computers for a while. Turn off your iPhones for a while. Get out of those things and into the spiritual oneness. Yes, my hearts. Begin by calling that your heart might beat one with my own. I am in the midst of assisting many souls displaced from their bodies by recent calamities, and I enlist you in my rescue army. I ask you first and foremost to give your decrees to cut them free, that they might be demagnetized from the forces of the fallen angels upon earth who have had them. I ask that you make the call that they be taken to the best place possible in their soul's journey. I ask that you pray that Mother Mary and Kuan Yin minister to those who could be lost, who must be drawn in, as it were, into an incubator of the Divine Mother, to be prepared to receive again the flame and breath of life that has gone out by their own neglect as well as their abuse by the powers that be. I ask you to call for the healing of souls from the trauma of being abandoned by the United States and by those whom they have respected, who have turned against them or turned their backs against them. Life does suffer. May you bring joy and light, a candle and minister, and know what it is to move with the angels of light. Call to me, an Archangel Michael. We shall clothe you in light and the armor of the angels and take you on journeys to see what your eyes have not seen. You need a co-measurement to know untold suffering against the backdrop of bliss in the higher octaves. All these things we shall show you. Come then, join the armies of the Lord, even as they move for the salvation of souls. Yes, beloved, learn to minister to life and to love it. Join my order of the Good Samaritan and know the basics of how you can help in situations of accident, sudden illness, etc. I am caring, beloved, with my legions, and you joining me for many millions. May you know that this is an opportunity unparalleled for the saving of souls through the Sacred Heart of Jesus. I have come to this place to anchor a flame of reality. May those who live in this city as a temporary base pull down the God reality by the power of the great divine director, by the power of mighty victory. May the reality of God be the banner that you carry. O God reality, establish in mine own the true line of Christ's discrimination of the heart. As you know God reality, so lead others to the fount and be at peace. If you will keep the flame for Saint Germain, pledging thereby to us increased surface and inner levels, as well as bringing this light to many, you will know a sure and a faster journey out of the clutches of the astral realm, both while you walk the earth and after the transition. For Saint Germain, the Knight Commander, whose dispensations are limited, for he has given so much, surely does have from the karmic board the authority to assist you mightily by your simple pledge to keep the flame of life on earth in the service of the goddess of liberty and the legions of the seventh ray of Aquarius. I am Moria, and I tell you, all ascended masters today seek ways and means to reach our own. I ask you to reach them, to take their hands and place them in our own. For some must be here to lift them up to where we can reach them from the level of the etheric octave from which we do not often descend. In the sun of Helios and Vesta, I stand. My beloved, help those who need your help, whom you can help. I implore you. Yes, Master. Yes, count on me, for I am willing and ready. Here I am. Take me and teach me.